Oh, there we go. Oh my gosh, this is
Hey guys, we're back with another Think Outside Fishing podcast presented by Baits.com. I'm Charlie Peterson, social media manager here at GSM, joined by Jace Peterson, and we're joined by another special guest, as always, Tommy Parker.
How's it going?
Hey
Hey,
Tommy.
Tommy.
So Tommy has just been on a tear recently, fishing tournaments all over the country as well as across Minnesota. So he just got done yesterday winning a brand new Skeeter boat. So tell us a little bit how you're feeling today, Tommy.
Yeah, so I'm still kind of in shock. I mean, winning a brand new ZX200 Skeeter is pretty unreal. Um, and just the day I had yesterday, I didn't expect it with how practice went, and I never thought it was possible to catch that much weight in a day out there.
Because I know talking to you, the night before, and a lot of the other guys, they were thinking that it might take 80, 90, maybe over 100 pounds. But, I mean, you were close to that at halftime.
Yeah, when I had 85 pounds rolling into halftime, I'm like, holy, I thought this was going to win the whole event. Now I got to do it for half. And the smallmouth guys just scared the crap out of me the whole time. I thought those smallmouth were going to fire up shallow late in the day, and they just never did. So largemouth bites stayed pretty consistent, but definitely got tough in the afternoon. Luckily, I was able to land on a couple big wads of them and offshore coontail, and that sealed the deal.
To give people a little color on what we're talking about, what we're referring to is it's a Classic Bass Champions Tour Championship. So it's kind of the premier tournament circuit in Minnesota. It draws people from anglers from Wisconsin, the Dakotas, and obviously Minnesota. Tommy had a stellar year. He finished up third in AOI points, and as we're talking about now, won a brand new Skeeter for the championship. And it's a similar format to the Major League fishing circuit where it's all fish count. It has to be over a pound, right, Tommy? At least it did yesterday.
Yeah, so it has to be over a pound, and then it's split up into 2 4-hour periods with either a half hour and hour break in the middle.
So it was pretty much, the lake was Green Lake in Spicer, Minnesota. They separated the lake by kind of a northern half, southern half. Did you have a certain half of the lake that you were more confident in, or were you confident in both halves, or not confident either?
Yeah, so that's the tricky part about this Classic Bass format is unlike MLF, Classic Bass draws a random line down the lake, and they split it in half. So 4 hours you can fish one half, 4 hours you can fish the other half. But they obviously don't tell you until the rules meeting the night before. So practicing, you're just trying to come up with all these ways they can split the lake in your head. You got to practice every split you can imagine. But the south side of the lake on green had most of the structure, most of the grass, which just fit me better. And the north side I struggled. There's a inflow coming in on the north side that had a lot of current, but I knew that was going to have a lot of boats starting on it, and it was just going to get beat up in practice. So I went and found one area with grass on that side of the lake, and I had coontail out in like 20, 22 feet. And that's where I had those big schools going.
And that was all you said. The smallmouth scared you. You thought the guys up shallow might get them later in the day, but you're primarily targeting largemouth the entire tournament, correct?
Yeah, so there's like big expansive sand flats out there, especially on the north side of the lake. And I thought we had a cold front for a couple days, but tournament day was warm, sunny, flat, calm. So I really thought those smallmouth were gonna get up and cruise those shallow 6-8 foot flats. And guys were gonna be out there scoping them and stuff. But it just sounds like Evan caught quite a few smallmouth, but besides him, they didn't really fire for anyone.
And Evan ended up in second, probably, and he was like, what, 15, 20 pounds behind you by the end of the day?
Yeah, I think he was like 15, 20 pounds behind me. The last hour of the day, so they black out the app. So throughout the day, we could ask our marshals, who are high school kids, um, where we're sitting. We could ask where buddies are and stuff. But the last hour, they shut the app down, so we can't see it. Um, so going into that, I had like a 30, 35 pound lead, which is huge.
Yeah.
But I mean, someone gets on a pod of 3 pounders, and there's a lot of those out there. You could catch up pretty quick. So it had me worried with Evan right on my tail.
Yeah. We were watching it closely leading up until that blackout period, and Evan was definitely catching them. I actually texted our GSM group and said that you were going to win at 3 o'clock, and I was like, "Oh, I hope I didn't just jinx Tommy." So I'm
Oh, and
glad
the
you pulled
scary
it
thing
out.
was, like the first couple hours of the second period, Evan was right next to me, so I could see him every time he caught one. Well, right
Yep.
before the blackout period, he got up and left, so I couldn't see him anymore. So I had no idea
Gotcha.
what he was catching.
So you primarily targeted offshore grass, what, 20 to 25 feet,
I mean, I
deep
had some
coontail.
shallower. The stuff up on top of the flats was good, like up in that 8, 9 foot. Had stuff in
Okay.
15. I had stuff off the breaks in 2022. It was just there's such little grass out there because they spray it so bad.
Mhm.
Um, any coontail milfoil, or there's hardly any milfoil out there anymore, but any coontail you could find seems to hold a lot of fish. And
Because
these
there
patches,
was,
what was that?
I was gonna say, because there wasn't as many patches, or I guess not as many weeds, was the traffic on a lot of that stuff, or were you guys able to spread out throughout the tournament?
Yeah, so that's what I was gonna get to. So this clump that I caught him off of the second period, I watched about 6 guys. I was on the outside and I watched 6 guys go through that clump and no one caught a bass. And for some reason, when I pulled up, there was a school. They either moved in or they were in there and they just fired.
Hmm.
And they bet every cast.
And I don't know if you were, throwing something different than everyone else, but I kind of take a look at everyone's boats, kind of walking by them, and I don't think I saw anyone throwing what you were throwing.
No, I feel like people have to throw it because I talk about it every tournament.
I know.
Like I think I probably cashed my last 10 checks on that purple Roboworm.
That's
Margarita mutilator.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or
that's
MM2, the other one that looks similar.
I saw the deck of your boat at the end of the tournament. It looked like you went through quite a few packs.
Yeah, I was cleaning out my boat tonight, and the entire bottom was full. I probably went through like 10 packs yesterday.
That's awesome.
Like
At
I was out.
halftime, I'm like, Tommy, you got enough of those? He's like, I think so. I got
I
like
could have.
3 more bags.
Yeah, and by the end of the second period, the last like 10 minutes, I was on my last one.
What makes that bait such a confidence bait for you? Obviously, it's cashed whatever the last 10 checks you said, but it had to start at some point where that's kind of your go-to.
I don't even know where it started, but I feel like in that format, confidence is key in what you're throwing and what you're doing. And for some reason, I could just catch them all around the country on that Roboworm. I mean,
Yep.
it's simple. The fish have seen a million of them, but they still eat it.
Are you using just the 6-inch straight tail?
Yeah, I mean, I rotate through the fats and the straights, but I'd say a majority
Yep.
of the time I'm just throwing the straight.
Gotcha. Was there anything else that you used yesterday to help you put some fish in the boat?
Yeah, I rotated. There was a couple times where I rotated a Ned rig, heavy one. I was just throwing the quarter-ounce tungsten Nedster.
Mhm.
Just kind of when those. I mean, you catch 10 out of school on a Roboworm, they get pretty smart about it. So normally you can
Yeah.
pluck one or two more if you throw that Ned rig through there.
That's sweet. How many spots did you think you rotated throughout each period? Or was it just kind of a one spot wonder type of thing, or did you move around?
Yeah, no, the first half I had like a lot of my stuff I found in practice was the first half. So I probably ran 8 to a dozen spots the first half. In the second half, I didn't have anything. So I started on that spillway in the crowd, and then I caught 5 or 6 there. Then I moved to that big, expansive grass flat and never left. Probably spent 3 hours there.
Wow.
That's awesome. And you going into halftime, you weren't that far behind. You were sitting in second or third, right? I mean, you're already up to 90 pounds, weren't you?
Yeah, I think I was at like 85 pounds. But the weird thing was Ron Mayer had what seemed to be an unbeatable lead like 2
Yeah.
hours into the day. I was like 40 pounds back from him or something. And I'm like, I literally turned to my marshal. I'm like, I don't think I could catch up to this. It's like, we're fishing for second now.
Yep.
But I pulled up to one school the last hour of the first half and caught every cast for an hour. So you catch up pretty
Close the
quick.
gap.
Yeah, and the
Yeah.
size is really good on this lake. I mean, the average fish was 2.7 to 2.14 with
Yep.
a handful of fish over between 3 and 4 pounds.
I was gonna say I saw a picture of a big 4-pounder you had too.
Yeah, I caught a 4-pounder right away in the morning. That had me fired
Awesome.
up.
And obviously, you ran into a couple schools where you're catching them pretty fast, but like, watching from the app and from shore, it just seemed like you're just catching them consistently all day. Like, I don't know if you had any, long periods of time without catching one. And that's definitely, probably the biggest key in that format is minimizing, those periods where you're not catching any fish and you were just consistently adding one to the board at least, every time I'd refresh it, you'd be moving up. So,
Yeah, I mean, if you consistently catch one, you kind of keep on pace. And then you get on those wads of them and you jump up 10, 20 pounds above the guy behind you.
right.
And it seems like if you could just do that and then consistently catch one every 10, 15 minutes, you're doing pretty good.
So obviously you fished a 5-fish format, you fished a Champions Tour, which is, every fish counts format. What do you prefer? Or does it change lake by lake?
Well, my whole life I fished 5-fish formats, obviously, but so I love those. But that Champions Tour format, it's just I don't know. I have so much fun fishing it. Keeps your adrenaline going all day because you slip up for a half hour and don't catch a bass and you fall way down.
Yeah.
So I'd say I have more fun with that, especially here in Minnesota, just because we have so many bass in a lot of these lakes.
I haven't personally fished anything like that, but watching the leaderboard and being at the events, it sure seems like you can't take any breaks, that's for sure. You got to keep the foot on the gas the entire day.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, if you don't consistently catch them all day or get on school and fish, you're pretty much screwed. Once you fall back in that format, it's really hard to catch up.
Yeah.
One thing I was gonna say is, I mean, I think you're gonna bring it up, Jace, but I remember Tommy started fishing the classic bass as soon as he could. I think he missed the first event because he wasn't 18 yet, and then he hopped in on, I think, first event on Minnetonka a few years ago, and I think you
Yeah,
had a good finish there.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
had to pay for the full season, but I couldn't fish the full season. And actually, I think that year I missed the championship by like 2 spots, and I missed the whole first event.
Wow.
Dang.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. And that was the
That's
year we
cool.
got to go to Pelican, and that record got broke, like 250 pounds or whatever it was that Rasmussen caught.
Yeah. That's unreal.
That's a lake I gotta get back up to.
Yeah.
Was it the following year or 2 years after that you won on the river?
I think. What year did I win on the river? 22.
Okay. Gotcha. And that was kind of a finesse type thing too, right? You're just using a Ned rig and plucking off smallmouth.
Yeah, so I mean, I struggle with river fishing a lot. Luckily, this year I got away with a good finish on the river, doing the same thing.
Mhm.
And then the year I won, yeah, I think that tournament was in June, I believe. I believe it was the first event of the year. And so there's spawners out there. They're hard to find. And a lot of these areas got blown out tournament day. But luckily, I had a lot of them waypointed. So I had just these big clumps of them. So I'd go
Yep.
through those just dragging a Ned rig, even though I couldn't see anything. Because there's cruisers and there's spawners. And then the second half, I had a couple marinas and I just went back and forth and I could catch a couple every pass I took. And it was enough to keep me up there. But that one was really close. That wasn't like this championship where there was a 15, 20-pound difference. That
Yeah.
was like, I think Rod Mayer was behind me in that one. And if he caught one more bass, he'd hop up, I'd catch one, just back and forth all day.
That was also before the blackout period too, right? Where you guys knew what you guys had all the way up until the end.
Yeah, so we knew, and actually Ron was just on the other side of the causeway from me, so I could see Ron. And luckily, so if a fish hits your front deck, it's a 2-minute penalty. The last
Yep.
5 minutes, or right before, he got a 2-minute penalty. So he had to
Wow.
sit down.
And
Yeah.
that's frustrating. Good for you, but frustrating for him.
Yeah. No, those
Let's
penalties.
let's dive into a little bit about your history and growing up. Like how did you get into tournament bass fishing? Obviously Charlie stated like you're at it from a young age. You couldn't even fish the Classic Bass Tour until you're 18, but before that, you obviously fished tournaments and grew up around Minnetonka. Talk about a little bit about how you got started into bass fishing.
Yeah, so I grew up with a cabin on Woman Lake. Seems like everyone knows what that place is now. But I didn't even know there was smallmouth in that place. I was up there at a young age, and my family just walleye fished. So that's kind of how I got started in the fishing, is just going to the Rainy River, fishing at the cabin. I had a little 12-foot John boat that didn't even have a trolling motor on it. I think it took me like a full summer to catch one bass out of that boat. So that was kind of like the first time I started getting an itch. And then I got a little bit bigger boat and I was able to take it out to the main lake. That's what I figured out what smallmouth were. So that really got me hooked. And then I had a lot of people, just random guys that kind of mentored me from a young age. So I'd hop in a lot of little club derbies with them and the Bassinators Club. From there, I went to school at Minnetonka High School. So I joined their fishing team. And that's when I got like super serious in the competitive fishing thing in Minnesota.
Yep.
Jimmy Bell ran the SATT high school program. So I fished all those. And from there, I went to Champions Tour, and now we're at the Opens, and it's kind of just kept leveling up.
That's right.
Awesome. Yeah, I kind of forgot about, the whole high school fishing team aspect, and that sounds like that, played a key role for you as well.
Yeah, and a lot of SATT guys have just been killing it this year. I mean, Fothergill won the Classic.
Yeah.
You look at the Classic Bass results, I think all 4 winners this year are SATT guys that graduated right around that period where me, Fothergill, all those guys were.
Wow.
No, it's a cool program.
We all used to fish together. We're all like right in that same age. We were all at high school at the same time.
Yep. Minnesota is such a special place because we got a good playground, don't we? With largemouth and smallmouth and the variety of lakes that we have.
Yeah, I mean, you can never fish them all in a lifetime. There's so many of them. Even around home, you almost pick a new one every day of the week.
That's right. So you fished the Opens this year, or one of the series of the Opens. You started out on Rayburn, right?
Yeah, I started out strong on Rayburn. That was the best practice I've probably ever had for a tournament. Catching a lot of big ones, a lot of fish. It felt like Minnesota to me. It wasn't like your classic Southern Lake where you're grinding for 5-10 bites. You're constantly catching fish out there. Finished that one in 8th. It actually got, I think day 1 got canceled and day 3 got canceled. So we only got to fish one day.
That was pre-spawn type stuff, right? I mean, you're looking for offshore type stuff, mostly live scoping or forward facing stuff.
Yeah, all pre-spawn. I was focusing just on deep drains. The fish you'd be fishing over 30, 40 feet, and these bass would be, like a foot to 6 feet down.
Wow.
They're right at the top of the water column, but they're suspended over really deep water in those drains.
That's sweet.
Yeah, it sounds like a fun way to catch them.
Oh, yeah, I had a blast out there.
We probably haven't done a whole lot of that around home, but I guess maybe not for smallmouth or largemouth, but definitely for some largemouth or smallmouth.
Yeah, it's about all the scoping we could do around home is your
Yeah.
boulder fisheries, pretty much.
Yeah.
The only place I scope around here is Mille Lacs, just fishing boulders or leech.
Right. So then after Rayburn, what was the next stop for you, Tommy?
Yeah, after Rayburn, we went to Kentucky Lake. Um, that was a rough one for me. Had a decent practice, but we had changing conditions. I know the last day of practice was some of the windiest conditions I've ever been in. And day one of the tournament, or no, maybe it was day two, but I blew my lower unit. So I spent my whole day trolling back. So that was interesting. Luckily, I got in with a couple fish. I was hoping that kind of saved my season, but I still fell a little short.
Yeah, that would have paid off big time if it worked out. But gosh, trolling all the way to the access or to the weigh-in, it just sounds brutal.
Yeah, it sucked. I trolled all day. I think I blew my lower like 2 hours into the tournament, and I was way up. So I trolled back, hit a couple little spots on the way back, caught a couple, but so that one really sucked. And then from there, we went to Norfolk, which was the wildest stuff I've ever been in. And we had like 3 tornadoes try touching down that week and golf ball size hail. That was another one of those 1 day tournaments. Lake Etchy rose, I believe, 19 feet overnight.
That's
So
insane.
That's
that was the
unreal.
one on the way home where the Minnesota guys were driving back and the whole bridge washed out. So we had to back all our trailers out of there because we couldn't get across the river.
Wow. Before the tournament started, did you like the lake? I mean, did you have a decent pre-fish or?
Yeah, I caught a lot of fish. I was just struggling with size out there. I could get in like that 8 to 12 pound range, but I couldn't do anything better than that.
That was the biggest thing with this year's open schedule, wasn't it? The crazy weather you guys had.
Yeah, I think Kentucky Lake was the only full tournament we got to fish this year.
You guys had some crazy weather for that one even.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was a year of weather. It was definitely pretty gnarly. I'd say the stuff at Norfolk was the craziest by far.
And you had your truck camper with you, didn't you?
Yeah.
So you were hiding out and trying to dodge a tornado.
Yeah, luckily I got with like Brad Leitner and Kenta and Chris Grow and some of those guys. So I was just hanging out at their place the whole time.
Nice.
Yeah. Better than the camper. The camper gets a little scary in those naders.
Yeah, for sure.
But Kenta, like tornado sirens will be off and he'll just walk out the door of the house and just go hang out in his camper.
Jeez, nothing. Yeah, nothing for him.
No.
So then after that, you had home lake.
Yeah, leash. Felt good to get to somewhere familiar, honestly.
Right.
I grew up fishing Mille Lacs a ton, so just that boulder thing is really familiar to me. It's not like Mille Lacs where every boulder has a bass on it, though. Leech, there's just like very few areas in the lake that actually hold smallmouth, and they're really smart. They got a lot of pressure, especially when there's a 200 boat tournament out there all week.
Was your mindset all along to chase a smallmouth?
Yeah, going into it, I was somewhere in the 90s in EQ points, so I knew I had to either win the thing or just go for broke trying. So I really had no backup plan to go largemouth fishing. Didn't even think about finding it. I spent my whole practice out there smallmouth. I actually pre-practice and I tried to find some new sneaky areas that aren't the spots us locals always fish. And there was nothing out there. It's all just community holes.
Yep.
So official practice, I just spent my time trying to find sneaky things that they will eat. Like it seemed like at the start of practice, you get them to eat like your minnows and stuff everyone's throwing. But as they see more and more, they stop eating that stuff and they just get smarter and smarter.
I know a lot of the guys, bring up how tough the smallmouth are to get to eat on Leech Lake, compared to like anywhere else, really.
Yeah, no, it's insane. Like all our other lakes around here, I mean, they just bite. The leech, you could cast at 10, 20 fish before you get one to eat. And they're really picky about what you throw at them and how you present it. It seemed like when we were there, if you didn't make the perfect cast and roll your bait through that boulder perfectly, one wouldn't even show themselves. When we were there last year, they were all set up on top of the boulders, so you could just scope around and see them. This year,
Mhm.
you wouldn't see anything until you made that perfect cast and rolled it through the boulder and one would come out.
You think that had to do with the the amount of people looking at the stuff and casting at the boulders, or something else with weather or bait?
Yeah, no, I think it was weather related. Because even in the first day of practice, I wasn't seeing any of that where they were up on top of the rocks.
And
So
was there more guys, chasing smallmouth this year compared to last year, or about the same?
I mean, I'd say less. Definitely a lot in practice in the first day of the tournament, but
Hmm.
that second day of the tournament was so windy. It just a lot of guys went largemouth fishing,
Yeah.
especially the guys that had a shot in EQ points. They were just trying to salvage some points. I mean,
Yep.
you could go out there smallmouth fishing all day and not catch a bass. So, but if you get 5 to 10 bites, you're gonna have a good bag.
So after day one, you're sitting in second place. You caught them pretty good. Like, not only obviously weight, but you caught quite a few numbers on the first day, didn't you?
Yeah, they were biting the first day. I mean, I was having a blast out there. I could catch them doing whatever I wanted. I actually caught a bunch on that uni. That was a really fun bite. And I pulled into one area and called out everything I had. And that's where I caught that ounce shy of 22 pounds. And
Jeez.
I thought I had that area to myself because I went there at the end of the day and there was nobody down there. But
Yep.
when I pulled up on day two, I was scoping around for like an hour, and finally I look up and I see all these camera lights around me. Like 5, 6 of the top 10 were on the same bar as me.
Yep. Dang. What was
So they
that
must.
experience like, being on Bassmaster Live?
That was awesome. Like that's like a childhood like dream of mine.
Yeah.
Just having a camera in the boat. My camera guy wouldn't tell me when I was live, so I had no idea. So I was just locked in all day.
Nice.
Yeah, you
I
seem
think
pretty cool, calm, and collected, and I think they said that on live multiple times, and I'm guessing that comes from just having a camera boat in classic bass, multiple times in the last few years. Like you're kind of used to it, and yeah, it just seemed like you were head down, head down, and just all business.
Yeah, and I get that a lot. Like that's kind of just what everyone says about me. Um, I don't talk a lot. I'm used to being on camera a lot. I kind of just put my head down and get straight to business.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to have a conversation and fish. So I just lock in all day. And yeah, definitely having the camera boats with me in Classic Bass have helped out a lot. Just not as camera shy as if you got a camera in your boat for the first time.
Right.
I think you were one of the first guys to catch one that day too. I mean,
Yeah,
it was a slow start, but you caught one right away.
it was really hard to fish in that stuff. We were all down by Pipe Island and it was a north wind, so it was rolling through there pretty good.
Yeah, and it's watching on live, it's doesn't do it justice at all. Like it honestly doesn't look that bad, but I've been out there before and definitely knew that it was a lot worse.
No, yeah, I watched live after they released it on YouTube. And I'm like, these cameras are just not doing us justice out there. These waves are
Yeah.
huge and they looks like a little chop out there. I'm like, I'm taking over the front of the boat all day and it looks like nothing.
Yeah.
I saw and heard of a couple stories of some rough incidents on day two.
Oh yeah. Yeah, there's a couple people that got hurt and blew graphs apart and all kinds of stuff. I mean, you come around Stony Point on that north wind and it's rocking. There was probably the last hour of the day I decided to fish Stony Point, and there had been consistent fours rolling through there.
So yeah, that day two was obviously way harder, on the smallmouth side of things, and you said a lot of guys did go largemouth to salvage points, but like I think you still had one of the better all smallmouth catches that day, and you still held on to your position. You didn't pull it off, but you ended up in fourth place,
I think I finished fifth in that one.
fifth.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I thought I bombed that day. Like catching 16 pounds on leech, most of the time you think you just shit the bed.
Right.
But right when I rolled in the dock, my camera guy goes, "It'll be close." I'm like, "Oh boy."
Yeah, and then you had the lead for a while too after you weighed in.
I know. But I knew Laker had a good sack of largemouth, so he had me worried the whole time.
The cool part is when I think it was Emil Wagner, when he weighed in, you guys actually had tied. So then I was like, oh no, there's going to be a fish off.
Yeah, how cool would that be to have a fish off against Wagner?
That would just be scary. I mean,
Yeah, I'd be so nervous. Like, isn't it like
Would you
first
have-
fish wins?
Yeah. So if that
Yeah.
would have happened, would you have gone after smallmouth or largemouth?
No, I would have went and started chucking a frog around or something.
Just try to get a 12-incher, right? Or 14, whatever it had to be.
Yeah, luckily
Yeah,
this year's a 12. Last year was like 15, and that made it real tough.
Yeah.
yeah, I'd just be instantly thinking I was gonna, either win it or pull an Iconelli.
When he
From that,
snaps the rod when he loses it.
Yeah, that famous clip where Keith Combs caught the winning fish, and they both looked like they both just took off from the axis and took the closest thing,
Yeah.
started fishing.
So
But-
from the Open, you went to Lake Cabotogama the next day, essentially, for a Minnesota Bass Team Trail. Took a third there, and then took a couple days off for the Green Lake tournament and won it. So you've been on a hot streak the last couple of weeks.
Oh yeah, before the Open, we had the Champions Tour on Mahamadou. I finished fifth in that one too. I think that's the week before.
You just got to
it's been
keep
a
fishing
crazy-
more tournaments. Yeah.
I know we're running out of nice weather up here. Starting
That's
to
the
get
biggest-
cold. I had to fire up my heat in the camper a couple nights ago.
That's the biggest problem about being in Minnesota, isn't it? Our tournament season comes to an end.
Yeah, I mean, you get late August, September comes around, it goes from real nice and then starts getting real cold.
Yeah. So we talked a little bit before we started the podcast, but what's your initial plan for next year now?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna fish as much as I can, try to fill up as much of my schedule as I can. Thinking I'm gonna do the Classic Bass Champions Tour again. I've done that I think I'm on my 5th or 6th year, and I've had a lot of success. So I feel like I can't drop out of that one.
Yep.
And especially trying to qualify to get back into it, I feel like that'd be really difficult.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll fish that again, and then I'm thinking I'm going to fish both Division 1 and Division 2 of the Opens just to give me the best shot of making EQs.
That's awesome.
Finishing 7th spot out kind of fired me up this year, so we're going to get after it next year.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Did you pull that boat home last night?
No, so they don't give you the boat there anymore. They actually,
Gotcha.
They basically just asked what dealer I want to go through. They sent the dealer all the info, and I just got to go in there and order the boat.
That's
Cool.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's got to be your biggest winnings from a tournament, right?
Oh, 100%. I mean, second to that is probably like a top 10 check in the Opens.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because the year I won a main season or regular season Classic Bass tournament, I think they're only paying out $12,000 that year. So payout's been consistently going up every year.
No, that's
they always
pretty
get
special.
pretty cool. And there's no entry fee, and you're only competing against 32 guys, which is pretty awesome.
That's awesome. That's pretty special. Not many people get to say they won a boat in their career, especially at 22.
Yeah, and I was talking to guys like Sobe last night at the after the awards, and he's like, dude, like that's so badass. Like that's like something like all the old locals, like the Minnesota Tonka Hammers say, like, yeah, Dino won 2 boats back and so.
Yeah.
Doesn't happen anymore.
No.
Yeah.
There's not many tournaments that give away boats, so especially up here. It's essentially
No.
the only one that does.
There used to be more, but now it's just classic bass, and that's it.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome. I mean, that's like the biggest trophy you can get in Minnesota is saying you won a boat. So
Yeah, no, that's great. That's had to been a great feeling, and you're definitely on one. So you better keep on it, keep on fishing
Yeah.
as long as we can until the ice gets here,
I don't
anyways.
know. Hope I can keep the momentum going in a woman.
That's right. Yeah.
We got that coming up in a couple weeks.
Yeah, it's
Yep.
gonna be a fun one.
Oh yeah, they're gonna be biting up there.
What else you got after that?
I'm done after that. I might take a vacation with the old lady. I don't know yet.
Nice.
Do something. Go relax somewhere for a bit. It's been a busy season.
Yeah.
Clean out your camper, maybe.
Yeah, I opened the door. Well, I made the mistake of opening the door this afternoon, and I thought about cleaning it, but it's just gonna get put on the back burner for a while. Bad.
And the Roboworms out of the bottom of your boat.
Yeah, I got the boat cleaned up and picked up all the Roboworms, but the camper is just too nasty for me to clean right now.
That's not a bad problem, right? Just means you've been
No.
fishing.
Yeah, I've been living out of it for a while, so.
That's right. Why don't you tell everyone how to find you on social media so they can follow along the rest of the fall and into next year?
Yeah, all my socials are just Tommy Parker Fishing. Real simple.
Sweet.
Good deal.
All right, well, we'll be seeing you around. Good luck the rest of the season, and make sure to keep an eye out for Tommy Parker.
Thanks, Tommy.
Later, guys.
Oh, there we go. Oh my gosh, this is